What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Multiverse Monologues, the podcast show where we like to travel across the multiverses and fandoms that we love to talk about the movies and television shows that accompany those universes. I am your co-host, Ben Rayside, and today we are traveling back to the MCU as part of our Marvel movie marathon, and this week we have the privilege to talk about Captain America, the first Avenger. And I did say that we have the privilege because joining me as always on the Marvel movie marathon is first and foremost Mr. Ethan Westloff. Ethan, how are you doing?
You know, I'm doing okay, right? Today's been a really busy day. It's been a really busy week. I am super tired, but I mean, sitting down to podcast and talking about Captain America. Now this is something where I sit here and say, I can do this all day. Let's go, baby.
That may have been the best one yet. That was perfectly executed. And I appreciate your honesty, man. Usually we always say we're always doing good, and not often do we actually acknowledge, we are busy.
Let's go, baby.
Guys, man.
Let's go.
But it is a privilege to talk
to for the Marvel movie marathon.
Of course, it's always a privilege to talk to not only you, but also Mr. Micah Head. Micah, how are you?
I'm doing pretty great. I had a pretty busy day myself, and as we sit down to talk about Captain America, the first Avenger, Ben, I really hope you don't say anything stupid.
How can I? You're taking all the stupid with you. Oh, beautiful. Hey, I will say this is an extremely quotable film, for sure. There's a lot of quotes that I've baked into my psyche, like the Captain America, how exciting. I am a great fan of your films. I say that all the time because I am actually indeed a great fan of his films, both in universe and out of universe. It's truly a privilege to sit down and talk about this movie. And but before we do, I want to say that go subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you could, go leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. There's also this Q&A on Spotify that we've recently just found out about that you can, if you're listening on there, leave comments or thoughts on the podcast. So that would be cool, and a little feature that I didn't know about. But if you guys want to check that out, feel free to do that. It would be greatly appreciated. But of course, any review that you guys leave, Ethan and I will review and talk about on our weekly show. But with all of that said and done, let's open our sling rings and head over once again to the MCU.
Wars are fought with weapons, but they are won by men.
You just don't know when to give up. I can do this all day.
Our goal is to create a new breed of super soldier.
How do you feel?
Taller.
Every army starts with one man.
It's a great privilege, once again, to sit down and talk with you boys about the MCU as we progress through the Marvel movie marathon. And we get to a movie that is pretty near and dear to my heart. I've been looking forward to this one, guys. I'm not going to lie, but as a refresher to those who maybe, haven't seen this movie in a while, or maybe if you haven't seen it at all as you're following along with us, Ethan, as always, has a summary for us. So if you wouldn't mind reading that, sir.
Yes, Captain America, not the second Avenger, not the third Avenger, even though this is, the fourth Avengers film, technically. Nah. They saved the best for this spot. Captain America, the first Avenger, directed by Joe Johnston, written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. In this film, it is 1942. America has entered World War II, and sickly but determined Steve Rogers is frustrated at being rejected yet again from the military service. But everything changes when Dr. Erskine, how do you say that, Ben?
Erskine,
there we go. He recruits him for a secret Project Rebirth, proving his extraordinary courage, wit, and conscience. Rogers undergoes an experiment, and his weak body is suddenly enhanced into the maximum human potential. When Dr. Erskine is then immediately assassinated by an agent of a Nazi Germany's secret Hydra research department.
RIP.
Rogers is left as a unique man who is initially misused as a propaganda mascot. However, when his comrades need him, Rogers goes on a successful adventure that truly makes him Captain America, and his war against Schmidt begins.
That's a pretty full summary of the movie.
Yes, it is.
I like that. That
I
pretty
do
much
too. Yeah.
encompasses every facet of one of Marvel's earliest films. And I know how we all feel about Captain America's journey as a whole, but as it starts, I want to get your guys' thoughts, and I will throw this over to Micah first. Thoughts on Captain America, the first Avenger?
Yeah. I mean, what is there to not like about this movie? There are definitely some things, but there are a lot of things that are good about this movie. It's a great action movie, great, while not entirely original origin story. I'll get into that later. It has a lot of great war themes, not really elements. It tries to be a war movie, but doesn't really go into the war aspect. I think that the villain is a bit flat, although he has quite the rigid face.
Very
those
defined.
cheekbones are wow.
Yeah, agreed.
And the overall, this movie is pretty good.
You're a fan.
I'm a fan. Positive.
Yeah. Okay.
Positive.
Okay. All right.
Not a 10. Not a 1. Not a 5. Not a 6.
Oh, not. Oh, whoa. Okay.
Okay. Slowly
He's
narrowing it down.
giving
Narrowed
us-
it down a little
okay.
bit.
Giving a score
All right.
right out the front.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I like to see where my score kind of lands at the end of this discussion.
That's what the discussion's for. Ethan, are you with Micah pretty good, or where are you at?
I always love revisiting this film, particularly. And this was really, I was sitting down and thinking, so I know for a fact this is the first MCU film I'd ever seen. I'm trying to remember. I do believe it is the first superhero movie I ever saw in my
wow.
life. Yeah. So this is a film that started it all, truly, for me. My grandma was telling us, all right, we're going to go take you to see the Avengers. And then we're the night before we go see it, my brother's like, hey, we should actually watch Captain America, the First Avenger before we go see that one. Just kind of as a pregame warm up. And yeah, so it was on Netflix. We turned it on. Loved it.
Those are the days.
Probably
Those are the
watched it.
days.
When they were all on Netflix.
Yeah, man.
The Phase 1 movies on Netflix. Yeah. So I watched it with my grandma, my grandpa, and my whole family. And it was a great experience. My grandpa really liked it, actually. He's like, wow, that was really cool. He loves war movies. He thought the Hydra stuff, the Hail Hydra, he thought that was a little corny. But, I mean, we all kind of do. But that's kind of part of the camp of this movie. But as far as what I think of this now, I think it's a pretty good flick, still to this day. And it's not the best film we've seen so far, but I do really love this movie. And there's so much that they did right. And this movie really is really underappreciated. It's kind of thrown under the rug, and a lot of people kind of forget about it. And I was listening to a podcast last week where someone trashed this movie, and I don't know why this movie gets so trashed, because it really is a fantastic origin story, and it's really fun too. It's so fun to watch. I do have nitpicks, like Micah says. Like I don't think Red Skull fully hits it out of the park, and I think some of the movie moves a little too fast. But I think this movie's really close to being a perfect film, and we'll get to talk about it throughout this podcast. But yeah, I'm very positive on this movie. It's a great film.
Nice. I'm glad that we're pretty much all in unison, because I agree there are nitpicks, but overall it's a great time. And I like what you said about camp, that people have criticized the camp in the past, but that's almost, I feel, part of the charm with this early film. And you get this to me, when you get to compare, because now we've really dug deep into each one of these MCU movies in Phase 1 before the Avengers, this fits in very nicely with Thor and Iron Man 2. You have the big three all teaming up in Endgame for that epic scene versus Thanos, and it all really has its roots right here, because we were positive on Iron Man, we were positive on Thor, and now we're positive on Captain America.
You skipped over one.
That's the problem, because we weren't all that positive on Incredible Hulk, but these three films in
Forgot
particular.
about that one.
Yeah, exactly. I will not say any more. That speaks for
We watched
itself
that
right
movie.
there.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But the Avengers work so much because of these three films. And we're going to talk about the Avengers as it relates to this film in particular, and in particular, an end credits scene. But
Spoilers.
I'm with you guys. It's a fantastic film. I have given it great accolades for it. It's weird because this is the start of Captain America becoming one of the best superheroes out there. I talk about my favorite superheroes of all time. Spider-Man's there. Batman's there. And Captain America's right there too, which speaks only to these movies in the MCU. Spider-Man and Batman have roots all the way back in the later days. You know, Spider-Man, his movies, Batman's movies go all the way back to like the 60s, 40s if you want to get technical with it. But Captain America is relatively new, and he is right up there for me as one of my favorite superheroes of all time, and that starts with this film. So, we do have nitpicks though.
Right.
Should we get those? Should we start with the nitpicks first?
We just want to start with Red Skull. What do you think about Red Skull?
The main villain of the movie.
Yeah.
I think his prosthetics and makeup are fantastic.
Oh yeah, great.
Looks great. Yeah.
Is it all prosthetic? Is there any CG?
I don't know if there is, because
I mean, there was CG when he was taking it off, sure, but was there CG? Like, was his? I was trying to sift through the trivia on IMDb. Let me see if. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't see anything, but as for his acting, Hugo Weaving does an excellent job.
Of course,
I would
yes.
also like to add this isn't his first time playing a Smith, as he was Agent Smith in
The Matrix.
in the Matrix.
Oh yeah.
Elrond.
He can elevate a role, make it huge.
I didn't know that he was V. I was looking through his IMDb. He was V in V for Vendetta.
He's vegan.
Dude, he's crazy.
Wait, V or vegan?
V.
From
V,
V from
okay,
Vendetta.
Another is V for Vendetta a Marvel Comics
Said-
or is that DC?
DC, I
That's
believe.
DC. Okay.
He's also Elrond, obviously, in Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. He's in a lot of stuff. He's a great actor.
Matrix.
I do agree, though, his role is as a villain
DC. Yep.
is a little flat. He's
doesn't-
not given much.
His motivation is just we're supposed to hate him because he's gonna destroy the world because he's Nazi dude. That's his whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't really go into detail of why his face melted off or what the extent of his powers are. He's just kind of strong too. He's like Captain America, but also bad.
I will say I kind of like how it starts off though with him, because he starts
introduce him
talking
nice,
about
yeah.
Odin and the Tesseract, and we've all seen Thor, and it's I like that he is trying to get a higher power from the gods, and everyone's like, this guy's crazy, but we the audience know that no, this higher power was actually left to them by the gods.
You're trying to get this magic to work. I can see how you think science to a dumb person is.
He has some really intimidating scenes in the movie, though, when he brings those three guys in and he's like, but I can understand your confusion. And then he blows them all away. But
Were they Nazi high ups? Was that what that
Yes.
was? Okay, that's kind of what I thought. But they didn't give us enough reason to feel like these characters had some sort of power.
He should have got gutsy with it.
Yeah.
He should have killed Hitler. Come on. He should have done it.
That would have been sick.
Hitler come in here.
Captain America killed Hitler, 30-something times in this movie?
right.
I've knocked out Adolf Hitler over 200 times. I think that's what he says. And they're like, whoa, dang. Yeah, I will say, though, his motivations as far as conquering the world go, that's as far as it goes.
If he had some reason to not follow through with his plans because of personal motivations, he had a daughter or something, but then it would be too close to Thanos, or some sort of reason to hold him back from committing his high powered thing would help to add some depth to his character. But as he is portrayed, the only good part about him is Hugo Weaving's performance.
I think the best thing the MCU did with Red Skull is throw him in Infinity War.
Oh, that was so
because
good.
that cameo flew way under the radar, and I did not know
Right.
what was going to happen. And when it happened, the whole
notably
theater,
not Hugo Weaving.
no,
Right.
Walking Dead alumni does the voice.
Ross Marquand.
Thank you for the name. I was blanking on it.
Hugo Weaving's in Walking Dead?
No.
Oh,
No.
Ross Marquand
when
is.
he comes back in Infinity War, it's not Hugo Weaving. It's all CGI, and Ross Marquand from Walking Dead does
voices
the
him,
voice.
yeah.
Very
Gotcha.
well, I might add. Very
He
well.
plays Aaron on The Walking Dead.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the best thing they've done with Red Skull. As far as that goes, the only other nitpick that I have is that I think I agree with you that sometimes this movie moves a little too fast. It montages over a lot of what
Really cool sequences.
it has the Wolverine X-Men Origins effect to where
But we still get to see some
Yes.
of the action. Yeah.
yes, I don't think it's much of an issue. In fact, the montage of him and the Howling Commandos just absolutely balling out on the battlefield
And
is pretty
you'll-
cool.
Like, it's not till the second movie and there's an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode that dives more into the Howling Commandos, but you don't really realize how like in the span of this movie, they spend a lot of time together. Like that is Cap's team. But when actually watching the movie, it just feels like, okay, these are some dudes that are just here. And he fought some battles with them.
Yeah.
But like, that's his squad, dude. And we're supposed to think that. But yeah, which I think they move over that a little quickly.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you one of those guys' names. So
There was Mustache Dude. There was Asian Dude who eventually
What's his
becomes the
name?
principal in Spider-Man.
He's a descendant. That guy.
Yeah. There's
Dum Dum Dugan. That's
Dum
the
Dum
one
Dugan.
guy I know. The one guy I know his name. Wahoo! He
there's
even
the
has his
dude
catchphrase.
who speaks French. I don't remember the rest of them.
A very faceless.
They did the same thing with Thor too. It was they had this group of just comical dudes or patriotic dudes in this case, and they threw them together and pushed them out on the field. What really hurt this movie was two montages within like 45 minutes of each other, and they were all parts that could have been character development that they skimmed over. I wonder if they made this movie a bit shallow just to get through it. Do you guys think that?
What do you mean?
To not distract it from Avengers at
Oh
all?
no!
To
no.
make Avengers look even better?
There's so much heart in this movie.
As far
There's
as
a lot of heart.
critiques go, that's where it falls flat. I am so extremely positive with this movie beyond those two things that how positive I am almost kind of relegates how much I think about that, you know, just because of the amount of heart that this movie has. And I can see how there could have been character development. I think there's more than enough in this movie when it comes to Steve Rogers. In almost every scene that he has in this movie, whether it's being the kid that he is, the soldier that he is, or eventually the man that he becomes in the 21st century, all those scenes hit extremely hard from the very, like, he gets beat up in that alley. That's like the very first thing you see. And he's like, I can do this all day. I've had him on the ropes. And you start to see the struggle that he has of just wanting to serve. Every scene that he's in when he starts to meet Erskine, there is so much heart in this movie. And I think it's the most heart we've seen since the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
would agree. There are some, you know, who has the most heart, especially for Chris Evans in this movie, is
Haley Atwell.
Carter. She's got some.
Carter,
She's
man.
got some eyes for him. You see her, she's like really wanting to reach out and touch him right when he comes out.
I
of the
love.
thing.
I've like
In the
always,
trivia, it says she ruined a couple takes because she like couldn't control herself.
she was like laughing, or
No,
like she wouldn't.
like she couldn't control her hands from touching him.
Steve Rogers had that much riz. He was just absolutely. He had Haley Atwell.
So here,
Haley Atwell, that's
as
her
far
name.
as critiques go, this is kind of a half critique, but I know that it's a core part of this character. But let me ask you guys this: is he too perfect, Captain America?
No.
No.
He still has room to
Oh,
grow.
are you saying like what are his flaws? I don't see any. Is that what you're saying?
He still has.
I just feel like once he gets the serum, he kind of like, and that's kind of the appeal to him.
yeah.
But there's nothing really like where can he grow? How can he become better than the form he is in this movie?
It's not that he can grow, it's that the world around him can reject him. I think that's what we can go for, because we start to see it in this movie with the general not allowing, like not giving him the direct orders to go save all those people, but he does anyway. And we'll see that later with the Sokovia Accords. That's basically what the Avengers are trying to do, is go against what take the law into their own hands and figure this out themselves.
I like that you say that, because Winter Soldier is basically that the whole movie is.
Yeah, that's Captain America's
government's
character.
wrong.
Yeah.
I'm right. It's him learning how to fit in that scenario. And you're saying that there's no room to there's no struggle. Like Tony
the appeal of a character is what he goes through and his character growth.
Yeah.
Does he have growth, or is he just the perfect man who just needed a bunch of steroids to use his perfectness?
His character flaw is that his muscles are too big.
Yeah, his character flaw was he was weak and puny, and now he's not.
I think that is the point, because you have that
And
conversation.
I don't have a problem with that.
The conversation between him and Erskine, they're on the bed.
Right. Great scene.
That's why. Oh,
Great scene.
It's so good. But that's why he picked him, because this serum amplifies everything. The bad becomes worse. Good comes great.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever happens,
With
you must promise
great
me.
power comes great
That's
responsibility.
basically what he's saying.
I've hinted
He
to
got
this.
really close. Yeah.
I hinted to this in my thoughts of the movie at the beginning. This is Spider-Man.
This movie?
This is very much Spider-Man.
But that's the appeal to it. When you have a
It
character
is.
who.
It is.
But I will say that Spider-Man's conflict makes him a little bit more interesting than Captain America. That's why Captain America doesn't appear on anyone's best superheroes of all time list, because a good superhero has conflict. Batman, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Superman, any of those characters, they struggle with a certain thing, and Captain America struggles with not himself, but maybe sort of how he fits into the
So something that
world.
I always forget about is when he first gets on the plane with the missiles or the missile jets, whatever you call them. I always forget that once he gets on there, he actually leaves it again in one of the missiles. The Hydra agents take off. He leaves the plane. They're flying around. And then Captain America beats him up, rips the cockpit open, hops in, and then he can just fly it without any training. That's when I was like, okay, he might be too perfect if he can fly this without any training. Like everything else, I'm like, that's his character. He's perfect. But this was like, okay, maybe he's a little too advanced.
This,
here.
just like the Hulk movies, are not both of them. The first one, I like the first Hulk movie better.
Better than this movie.
No. I'm talking. Forget I said anything. This gives me exactly what I want to see out of Captain America. They wanted people to leave this theater happy and just hyped, with no conflicts about this movie at all. What is there to complain about? They wanted to be this was supposed to be a crowd pleaser. It's the summer blockbuster. It's the one before Avengers. It's they got to get butts and seats for this next one because it's the biggest budget movie of all time. They got to make sure that they don't leave a bad taste in people's mouths. And this is as close as you can get to a World War II propaganda. America is great because America is good. Captain America pulling Nazis out of the air and shooting down Nazi planes and just killing Hitler 200 times. It doesn't get better than this. This is the most patriotic Marvel movie. Homegrown, whatever.
Agreed. And I think that another appeal to Captain America's character as he fits into the wider MCU is they make him this way, and then it plays perfectly into his interplay with Tony. Because Tony's got a view on the world, and Cap's got a view on the world. And every interaction that they have in the Avengers movies... Perfect.
So good.
It's so good because Cap he does have the moral high ground in almost any one of the situations. But Tony also, he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to be the futurist, but Captain America's, there was a great episode of Earth's Mightiest Heroes about this, but the conflict is all throughout the movies too.
There's a whole movie about this too.
Absolutely. And so it's
Team Iron Man.
Team Cap for sure.
Team Ant-Man.
So Team Cap, right?
No, I'm just here for Ant-Man.
Anybody have any orange slices? But I think that is a critique to his abilities, though. Your critique that he can just fly that, not a critique to his character, correct?
I don't know. It goes in with his character. If people get mad at Rey flying the Millennium Falcon, I can get mad at.
Well, she has the Force.
She has the Force. Steve doesn't have the Force.
He's got the super serum.
He's got the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Maybe he played no, they didn't have games. Maybe he did something. He drove a car.
They didn't have
and
games
the
back in
super
19
How
soldier
hard
serum
is really to fly anyway?
amplified his ability to fly.
It can't be that hard to fly a plane. I'd figure it out. If I were him, I would just,
See, I feel like that, but then
He
again,
did
like,
crash it. It's not like he.
I mean, that is true. He
Yeah.
kind of just steered it.
No, but that's
He,
why.
all right, so he flew 2 planes in this movie. He crashed both of them. One
true.
into the other, and then the big one down.
I wouldn't say he's the best pilot.
Fair.
of all time.
He did
Fair.
make it into like in between the I-beams so that he wouldn't explode
Or die.
What were those planes? Were
point.
those nuclear warhead kind of things?
Yeah, I believe they were bombs.
Yeah, just big bombs for kamikaze. Okay.
Yeah, I believe
That
they
came
stole
out of nowhere,
that.
didn't it?
I believe
Did
they
we know
stole
he was
that
gonna do
from
that?
Incredibles, right? I think if I recall right, what's his face had that same plan to do that to every city, to bomb every
You
city.
call him what's his face?
When everyone's super.
What's his name? Yeah, that guy. What
Syndrome.
Syndrome?
That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that Red Skull's plan lined up pretty much with Syndrome.
He watched that movie before making his plan.
Oh, he must have.
Micah, you said that this movie is the movie's origin story is cliche. At the start of
Not
this?
original.
Not original.
The origin
So
is not original.
this origin.
I thought it was
might
very
be the
similar to
most
Spider-Man.
Original, though.
How so?
So here's my thing though.
Yeah.
Because this origin might be like the most original, as it's like one of the first origins like ever made.
No, not like movie wise. They should.
Oh, okay,
Like
okay.
as the movies go, I'm a dude going to the movie theater. I'm like, hey, this is just like Spider-Man.
In what way?
Because the dude gets powers, it's his super strength, and then there's a girl who likes him with the powers, and then with great power comes great responsibility. The Red Skull has the same sort of powers as he does, and they've got this like thing that they're going after, the power of the sun in the palm of their hands. It's all Spider-Man. This movie's just
I think you just summarized the plot of every superhero movie
most,
ever
yeah.
made.
That's
But
most superhero.
what did they do to twist it up? They don't give the villain.
World War II.
Yeah, okay, it's World War II, but is it really World War II? Does it matter that it's World War II? They don't
Yes.
show anything that's World War II. Like the guy's a Nazi, sure, but they don't
Hydra.
they don't talk about it. They're not like showing us that it's World War II. They're saying
That's why.
they're saying it's World War II,
That's
and
how-
then we just know
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. If they did like what they did in X-Men Origins Wolverine,
Do not.
where they went on the
Don't
war.
praise
If they
them.
went like in
Don't.
No. What about in Wonder Woman, where it's like a World War II movie? That's good, or World War One, whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Where they go onto the battlefield and
You
they
want-
show.
You want more war,
So you want a war
less
movie.
superhero.
I think it would have been cool if they had more war instead of just cutting it out in a montage.
fair.
It would have been a much
But I think
more
they're-
full movie.
I think most of the middle is him in the war.
but not like I wanted to see him in like major battles.
Okay.
or
Like you
at
don't
least
want to
some-
see him fighting Hydra dudes.
some sort of iconic place at least from.
Okay, that's fair.
They didn't put any dedication.
So you
into
want
the
to see
fact
him
that this,
on D-Day.
Sure, no,
Yeah.
they didn't put
believe
any dedication that this was like. They didn't care about the fact that it was World War II. They didn't show any historical knowledge. They just said Nazis, Hitler, people hate this guy.
So if this was, I think, not an MCU film, I think they maybe would have done that.
yeah,
because
why didn't they even put it in a location that was historically relevant for it to be World War II? You know what I mean? Just anything.
Because I think that's
just
not,
even the littlest, the smallest amount.
yeah. But I think that's not the point.
It's not the point, but still, it adds just that little bit. If they just say, we're here in this time, this is what's going on around us, just to kind of place us in World War II. Because for a good portion, Ethan, why are you laughing? For a good portion of this movie, you could forget that it's World War II, except for that there's Nazis. But they're not. They're Red Skull, okay? Or they're Hydra. They're Hydra.
So you want Nazis to be the main villain of this movie?
No. I want there to just be some sign showing us we are in
World War II.
World War II. Okay.
Well, we get that.
Do you guys see what I'm saying, though?
I think that's fair, but I feel like we get that, you know? Like, I feel like we do. I feel like we're in World War II. We had a montage of it. We had him rescuing a ton of agents, like, in this whole base. And they were shipped off there, too. There was, I think, a couple scenes of them in a war room looking at maps, trying to find Hydra bases and secret locations like that. Yeah, we don't get D-Day and important events in the war that the Allies are pretty focused on, but I think that's the appeal of being a part of this, SS program or whatever, this secret government sanctioned program with super soldiers, because this whole unit was specifically designed to target Hydra, a fictional villain in the war. So yeah, you're not going to get events that happen in the actual, like, the real life war. You're going to get secret team attacking secret team because this isn't a historic team.
You can't insult the real war. Yeah.
What I'm saying is we should have seen Eric Lenscher. We should have seen Logan duking it out.
So that would have been nice. If we would have had the Fox X-Men rights, I'm sure Logan would have made an appearance in here. I'm absolutely sure of it. Logan is a part of the Howling Commandos in the comics. Logan, Human Torch, Namor, all of those people are a part of his Howling. No, they don't have the rights.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, their team is epic.
What if
There's
they
a few
did that
more
for this and they had Chris Evans twice as Human Torch?
All right, that was a great take. Now change your suit.
Yes.
Easter egg of Human Torch does actually appear in this movie. The first Human Torch,
Right.
It's at the World of Tomorrow, that pans across the first Human Torch.
Whoa.
And it's got his, like, leather suit. It's just a little Easter egg. They don't own the rights at this point. But I will say that I think that critique is a little minor to me.
It's minor, but to really just flesh
it's
out
invalid,
this,
Micah.
this
You're-
movie is flat to me.
But
This
that- I
movie
mean,
is
that's-
very generic in Marvel way. It's just a run-of-the-mill Marvel movie to me with some cool Captain America stuff in it.
Which is what a lot of people would say.
Yeah, it just needs that little spice.
Yeah,
it
so
needs a
you're-
little more.
Yeah, you're not alone in that thinking.
It surprisingly, I went on IMDb and it has a 6.9.
Nice.
And I'm just, why in the world is it a 6.9? Like,
Here, let me go through
that
the other
seems
scores we got.
even to me, that, like,
That's low.
that's low.
That's low.
That is low for it. We talked about this on the podcast, but Scott Derrickson, he recently just said that it's probably one of the most underrated Marvel films and underappreciated, because I think there is a ton to appreciate in this movie. And Ethan said you watched it right beforehand. The Avengers came out, we went and saw that, and then we went and saw this film afterwards because my dad, like, we all were in love with Cap. So then we went and watched this movie on my old VHS TV back in the day in my old room at my old house.
Wow.
And it was
Nice.
The quality was not that great,
No.
but I will never forget it because it was an epic experience and one that, it solidified itself. Like, even on my personal Marvel rating, I have this movie in my top 10 Marvel projects.
You can go check that video out on the YouTube channel.
I love this movie.
Talking about what the internet says, Rotten Tomatoes audience says it's a 75. Critic is 80.
I like that.
Yeah, Metacritic is 66. Metacritic user 68. Letterboxd 66. You already said the IMDb score, but we as the internet, it says that it's kind of like higher up, right? It's not bad. Our Hollywood Reporter rating.
Oh,
Our Hollywood Reporter rating.
Gotta go back. Gotta refer to the list.
Let me put this in the rank real quick. So, Captain America.
so to let the listeners know, we do this with every Marvel movie marathon as of recently, but the Hollywood Reporter put out a ranking of every Marvel movie, and we like to compare that to our thoughts on the film. So, Micah, where's Captain America fall in the ranking?
Guardians of the Galaxy is ranked number 19
Oh,
in
okay.
the Hollywood Reporter list. What do you think Captain America falls? Above or below?
Definitely above.
Above?
For sure. Well, I mean, not for me personally, but
Is it one above or one below? That's
think-
that's the game we'll play. Is it one above
I
or
think
one
they
below?
probably put it one above.
Above.
One above. It's number
Yeah.
18. Just below. What's above it? What's above it?
It's number 18.
Yeah, number 18.
I'm surprised it's
To
that
remind
high.
people, Endgame was what, 50?
Endgame is
was like
I gotta scroll
37.
down. 36.
Yeah.
Infinity War is 31.
Yeah.
No Way Home, Far From Home, Multiverse of Madness. Those are all in the 20s. Yeah. So we've got the first Avenger at number 18, Big Hero 6 at number 17.
Oh.
Whoa.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll have
Very
to see.
interesting.
We'll see where that falls. But I'm glad you're mentioning.
Just 5
Yeah.
below Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh. Into the Spider-Verse doesn't even
Into the
crack the
Midverse.
top 10?
Nope.
Well, that list
not
is-
according to
Yeah,
that.
not room for
The
Captain
list
Marvel.
is
Something else.
so
Go.
bad that we had to refer to it at every
Go,
podcast.
yeah, listeners, go take a look at that list if you're really curious to see why we're so up in arms about it. But
The internet, however, ranks it at number 33 in the internet list. So it's a bit further down
Okay.
compared to other
Okay.
movies. What do you guys think? Does it deserve the hate?
I
Does
think-
it deserve the midness?
I think we wait for scores.
it's overhated
to do
for
that.
sure.
Okay,
For sure.
okay.
But something I wanted to add while watching this movie. So, as a kid, I was like, Captain America, he's the best. He's my favorite. Now, as an adult, it's Iron Man through and through. Iron Man is just a lot more interesting to me. His flaws are a lot more apparent. But something that I was able to draw from this movie is further cementing why Endgame is perfect, or very close to perfect.
Endgame's perfect.
Last line in Iron Man is,
I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
yes. Last line in this movie,
I am Captain America.
I had a date.
I had a date.
How do they resolve both those lines in Endgame?
Oh,
He is Iron Man.
I'll get that dance.
He's got
Yes.
that dance.
And he gets that dance. How cool is that? I was like, wow.
I think that is
Wow.
the best payoff. Out of
So
all of
good.
this. Just
Yeah.
thinking about it, like as they were saying it, about a half an hour into the movie, he wasn't even Captain America yet.
Right.
Just him saying, like, I just want to dance. I've never even talked to a girl this long before.
partner. Yeah.
Oh,
So there's also a bit of thematic continuity as far as music goes as well, because of the track that plays as he lands the plane, titled "This Is My Choice" by Alan Silvestri, is the same track, beat for beat, note for note, that plays when Captain America gives when he gives Sam the shield in Endgame. It is the same track. And Alan Silvestri obviously does the scores for both this movie and that movie, but it's such a nice bit of continuity, and that track is so fantastic. The whole score for this movie is fantastic. We played a little bit of that theme in the last Marvel movie that we were talking about, but the Captain America theme is probably one of the best musical themes that we've had so far as superhero themes go. I think Toby's beats it out. I think this might be number 2 as far as musical themes goes.
love the Spider-Man themes.
Spider-Man.
Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman goes so hard with those themes.
And Alan Silvestri, is this his first Marvel movie that he's composing? And it won't be his last.
He does Avengers, the first one, the very next MCU film. He does Infinity War and Endgame. He does all those 4, and
doesn't do any
all
more?
of them are so good.
And Back to the Future.
He does do Back to the Future.
Endgame was robbed of a nomination for Best Score, but almost everything.
It was up for it, right? It was.
Nope.
No?
You know what did get nominated though?
What?
In 2019? Rise of Skywalker. Best original score. Yeah, basically using.
Let's not roll into all of that, Ben. We're in a happy place. We're in Captain America.
Good point, good
We
point,
started
good
to
point.
talk about their relationship, but can we say, as far as relationships go, is this the best one we've seen so far? What do we think?
Compared to a Spider-Man relationship,
So
I love the complexity of Spider-Man's relationships.
You're a big fan of those Spider-Man movies.
Just the complexity and how many lines you got to draw. Or not draw, but you can like find these. I just love that. We listen to the Spider-Man podcast. I talked about them there. I love the different relationships in Spider-Man and the way that I can't think of his name. The director, dude. of Spider-Man.
Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi, that's his name. The way that he just so well, he just writes these things so well. I love those relationships.
Yeah. I would say that I'm not the biggest fan. I think that was my one big critique with that trilogy is their relationship and how annoying MJ was, I would say. But I don't know if this is the best relationship we have so far.
Oh no,
I think Tony and Pepper.
She's just got the eyes for him.
Might be
That's about
a
it.
little better.
Yeah, does Peggy go for Steve if Steve doesn't get jacked?
Right.
Does he?
I think she is charmed to him in the car ride.
In like a cute little kid way.
Yeah.
And then I think he has muscles and she has a hard time staying away from him.
Yeah, has a hard time keeping her hands off.
That sequence is awesome though. When he first gets, the super soldier serum, and it's his first action sequence as powerful Steve, and he's
Against
running
Thor,
and
yes.
he's like
Yes.
looking at his body like, holy crap, look at me run.
He can't keep his momentum in check. He flies into that window.
Leaps over the fence.
Imagine that being a 5'2", 90 pounds going straight to like 230, like full 6'4", dude. I mean, of
Is
course,
Chris Evans that tall?
I don't know how tall he is, but it's a massive weight body change, Massive.
He's 6 foot.
But he's 6 foot.
Also,
Yeah.
props to this movie for or Kevin Feige produced this movie and he also had a role in the X-Men movies. He's learned a thing or two since then. And this one, they find the absolute perfect way to get Steve in his corny comic suit. And they make it work so well. The Star-Spangled Man with a Plan. Come on. Great sequence, great montage.
Great song.
Great song.
Dude, it's extremely catchy.
Yeah, so good.
It is very, very good.
Micah's got something to say.
No, I thought you were going to talk about the girls. I was waiting for you. You didn't say it, so.
Great girls.
Bring back the girls!
Yeah! They're sort of throwing tomatoes at him.
No, that scene is really good too, though.
Yes.
Yeah, the redemption that he gets from the soldier dudes, because they don't care about this dude dressed in boots.
He's just
a symbol.
He's a symbol.
They just wanted the girls, and after he saves 200, those guys, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool how they redeem the perfect man to the comrades,
to make him more perfect.
To make him more perfect, yeah. So how can this man be more perfect?
I see a lot of comparisons to. So you talk about how you wish this was like a more of a World War II-esque film.
It had the potential to be. It could have been.
I see Hacksaw Ridge as like this movie if it was just World War II.
Yeah.
Like scrawny dude.
You can
he
have
has a
Hacksaw
high
Ridge
moral standard.
right into this movie if you wanted to.
Like legit, he is like the perfect
And it's
man as
Spider-Man.
well. He has moral, exactly.
And Hugo Weaving's in it.
And Hugo Weaving's in it. It's there's a nice little comparison, and it's why I think I like both those movies because they kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, I draw a lot of comparisons between the two of them. Two great war movies that I think can almost go hand in hand. But as far as relationship goes, going back to that, I think as far as relationship goes for me, I think Tony and Pepper have the best relationship so far because Peggy doesn't get enough, I feel like, to do. Haley Atwell is great in this movie. She's so good. And it's just that most of it is a little bit like you have the kiss that Captain America has with that one chick who's like, the women of America, they like, oh,
need to thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
And seeing as they're not here. And then
Oh,
like,
you mean Peter Quill's grandma?
not that one.
Oh, not that one?
Different lady,
Oh, I
different
thought
chick.
that was Peter Quill's grandma.
But it's like,
Who was that?
just some
that
rando.
actress is in Hunger Games,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
as one of the. As
So
one
many
of,
Hunger Games actors in this movie. Did he
Right.
direct one of those?
I don't think
Joe Johnston?
Joe Johnston did. No, I don't think so.
Who's the
might be
lady
wrong, though.
that's Peter Quill's grandma? I thought you were talking about her.
She just appears for like a photo op during the montage, The Star Spangled Man.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like they take a photo with him and her and she's like smiling at him. But yeah, so she's like we had a mission for you if you're not otherwise occupied, and like he just is, and it's like they have that whole fondue joke, which is great, by the way. Like, I thought you two were fonduing, and
It's just bread and cheese.
Fondue?
right, which is great.
That was a good bit because
Yeah.
you could totally like they could have written it where she and Stark had a thing, but they didn't write it that way. They were like, okay, yeah, they're professional. They're just business partners.
I will say though, the ending as he's crashing the plane and their dialogue there about how they're going to have their dance is probably one of the most emotional moments in the MCU. Like, bar none. Like, top 5 for sure. Most emotional scenes as he is. The dialogue.
Top 5.
Dude,
Wow.
without a doubt.
All top 5 for me are in Infinity War and Endgame. So
It's just the way that they schedule
Guardians
their
too.
dance and the way it pays off, but the way that they schedule their dance about how they just need to be at the club. Don't you dare be late. And you know it's not going to happen because he's crashing the plane. And it's a nice little way to take away from the seriousness of it. And the music swells perfectly. You get that shot of Tommy Lee Jones. He looks, even him who shows barely any emotion during the whole film.
I'm not kissing you.
I'm not kissing that. Great
that was the
line.
only part I laughed so loud.
Right. Even he at that moment takes a like, dang, this really stinks. And it's that moment. It might be the best moment in the movie.
And yeah, he wakes up, from his coma, and the world he knew is gone. Everything he stood for is gone.
It would be the weirdest thing. Could
Yeah.
you imagine that going 50 years or so into the future? 60 years, I think, is what it is. And what happens? 70 years. You've been asleep, Cap.
Yeah, the I had a
You've
date
been-
line.
Yep, yep.
The I had a date line can be seen as a little comedic at first,
Tragic.
but
tragedy.
it is very tragic and sad because that's all he's thinking about. He's like, dang, Peggy.
You've been asleep, Cap, for almost 70 years. You gonna be okay?
Yeah, I had a date.
And
the
I'd
first
say,
thing
as
we
far as the Cap movies go, they could lean a little more into how he loves Peggy, because in Cap 2, he's moved on to Peggy's great granddaughter of sorts.
He has a scene with her though.
He does,
Which
yeah.
is really,
In the hospital,
really good.
or the nursing home. Yeah,
But yeah, he never really gets a true like foundational relationship until the
right.
end.
Until like looking at it, because
Yeah.
I'd say first watch of Endgame, I was like, really? That's what they did? I wasn't too hot on it at first. Now I love it. I love it after thinking about it more and getting to see like, oh, that's where it's leading to. I really enjoy it. But it is a little like, oh, whoa. Because as far as Steve goes, he is one movie with Peggy, and then we get him in 6 other movies in the current timeline. I just like, all right, was that pull strong enough? I think it was in hindsight, but there is that debate that you can go into.
Do they show? I forget how the time logic works in this. Do they show Peggy's husband in future
He
movies?
creates a new timeline.
Yeah. Oh, and then how does he end up?
But she does eventually marry in the main MCU timeline. But him going back in time creates a new branch timeline where she never met
So then
those. It
How
works.
does that branch go back to give Sam the shield?
I believe he uses Pym particles to go back to that moment.
After she's gone.
Yeah, I believe.
So yeah, how does that work? Well,
I think that's a conversation we have during
Endgame's
Endgame.
going to be a
Yeah.
long episode.
Yeah. I'm not setting a time limit for that. Which, speaking of that, we may have to move on. But continue what you were going to say.
No, it was
He's got time till screen.
it was about TVA, so I won't talk about that.
Talk about going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, as this is the flashpoint
Yeah.
of the earliest point in our timeline, right? Because there's no movie before this.
Nope.
No, this is
Eternal.
besides Eternals,
Parts of
and
Eternals.
parts of it.
Yeah.
This is the only part that's the earliest point. Right after Cap goes missing, he is is the first point where the Avengers go back in time to grab Infinity Stones. So, well, I guess we can talk about it. Like, where does that fit in? Like, how does that work? The timeline part.
What's your question? Like,
What
is your main question here? How does this movie fit into the timeline of the MCU?
How is Captain America is Steve Rogers, Peggy's wife, in this timeline?
Branch timeline.
No, it is not. No, it's not. No.
Okay.
No. Because in this timeline,
going backwards timeline is not okay. That's
in
not
this timeline. Peggy grows old and has kids.
Dies.
When he goes back when he does all the stones, when he goes
so
back,
it makes a new timeline. Yeah. We'll talk about it in Endgame then, because I just don't know how he ends up.
Short answer is he creates a branch timeline.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to mention before we go into scenes and characters?
The car. Every time it's on screen, it's like, that is a big car.
Which one? The Hydra car?
Hydra car.
Schmidt's car.
That thing, according to the IMDb page, is 27 feet long, 8 feet wide, powered by a 700 horsepower engine just to get the thing moving.
Whenever that car's in the shot, I'm like, is this a 3D movie? Like, it pulls.
I can reach out and touch it.
I could touch it.
It's gigantic.
Got that nice little Hydra logo on the front.
Tommy Lee Jones driving that thing. I don't even know his real character's name. I'm just calling him Tommy Lee.
Phillips, Colonel Phillips.
Sure, whatever.
Doesn't matter. He's dead.
Yeah, he's gone.
End of this movie, he's dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Colonel Phillips.
But what these early MCU movies do is it just, like you said it not only supports itself by being a good movie, but it gets me so excited for the future movies. And something I was waiting for in this movie that I realized wasn't in this movie is the Bucky tells Steve, "I'm with you till the end of the line." That's not in this movie. That's in the next one in a flashback, which I don't know. I'm not mad about, but I was just thrown back. I'm like, oh, where was that line? Because it hit so hard at the end of the second Cap movie, which is, I was on YouTube and I try not to go ahead on this Marvel movie marathon because I like just revisiting it in the moment because it makes these podcasts a lot better. But I accidentally saw a clip from Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and I was just like, wow. That movie's awesome.
Wait till we get to
that movie's
one.
awesome.
Holy catfish.
Did you guys see the one shots going through these? I don't know which ones. So
Item 47.
There's the consultant.
I did watch that.
Yeah,
There's even a Peggy Carter one.
There's a Peggy Carter one. I don't know. Like I'm trying to watch these in the timeline as we're going through. So the consultant was one that we were supposed to watch. What's another one that we were supposed to watch at this point? The Carter one?
Peggy Carter, a funny thing that happened on the way to Thor's hammer. Item 47. And I think
Team Daryl? No, that's Ragnarok.
I think that's
okay.
There's 4 I think I know.
Yeah.
That have happened.
Also
so I got some catch up to do.
There is an Agent Carter TV show also.
Yeah.
You can't
go completely skipping the timeline here.
Yeah. I mean, no, we're not doing that.
Something else we also skip in the timeline is Captain Marvel.
As far as timeline goes, we've got a ways to go before that one comes out. But yes, that would take place next as far as chronologically that goes.
But I mean, we started with Iron Man, so really we're all kind of screwed up.
We're already whacked out. Again, this is theatrically released order for sure. But with that said, favorite character in this movie. I'll shoot this over to you first, Ethan.
The car.
Ethan, what is your favorite character in Captain America?
Shoot. I mean, I don't want to take Steve because Steve is Steve. He's great. Yeah, I always like supporting Haley Atwell, especially since she'll be in Mission Impossible 7 this upcoming summer. So, take Haley Atwell, Peggy Carter. I really like her. I think she's really charming, and I like her appeal to Steve and how she's like, she shows up to the bar to. What happens in that scene? They don't dance? Or what pulls Steve away?
When she shows up to that scene, she basically just says they've got a mission for you, and that's basically to say, "Wow, look at how beautiful Haley Atwell is." Because everyone stops, and
I'm
they're
like, "Wait, are they gonna dance?" And Bucky's like, "Well, Lord,
I was visible. I was getting ignored." Right. So it's like,
a shout out to Clara. Yes. What's
dude.
that actress's name?
I don't know, but she's from
Clara
Doctor Who, and she's great.
Is in this movie. Here, I'll find her real quick.
That was my buddy's like celebrity crush.
I don't even know.
I'm forgetting why I can't remember her name, but yeah, she's with Bucky.
Jenna Coleman.
There it is. But yeah, Haley Atwell's a great pick.
Right.
She is so good, and her little bits that she shows up in the MCU.
She's very good at just subtle remarks, like that great scene where all the men are trying to climb the flagpole, and Steve walks over there, pulls the peg out, it falls. He grabs the flag, hops in the Jeep. Her face in that scene is really good. She's like, like maybe this short king's got something going on.
That's right.
Maybe he's got something. Yeah.
I also like how she's like digging on all the soldiers, like, come on, guys. My grandmother has more spirit, God rest her soul. It's just like,
and she
roasting
punches
them.
that one chump.
Oh,
yeah, that's great.
Put your right foot forward.
Dude, and then Tommy Lee Jones is like, get your ass.
I do think it's funny though, because in the final sequences, all the men are decked out in like body armor and gear. And Haley Atwell's running through there in her pantsuit.
Yeah.
Like you could have helped the cause, giving her like a helmet or something.
Hey man, this is
She's a
Carter
beast.
popping through.
She's a beast. She's an absolute girl boss.
Indeed.
Girl boss. All right, Ethan.
Come on,
Dropping the girl boss.
let's go. Come on, that's what I'd call her. She's
Indeed.
Yeah.
Michael, who's your favorite character in this movie? Besides the car.
Take the car. Take the
The
car.
The car and how roaring it sounds in that final shot. Where that's crazy how loud that thing is. It sounds like a beast. I'll say the car. Sure, why not? Because the characters are all kind of flat. So,
Whoa,
yeah.
hold on. What?
Ooh, I said it. I said it.
That's a big dig on this movie,
Colonel
man.
Phillips, I'll say he was pretty cool. I liked how he. I'm not kissing you.
You're just saying that because he got to drive the car.
He got to drive the
You
car.
got to drive the car.
Him and what's his name? Zola. He drive the car too.
Hanim Zola. Yeah.
There we go.
Not a
We haven't
scratch.
talked about Zola
Another
yet.
great
so
scratch.
glad you
Another
name
great.
dropped
You know
her.
who else we
Yeah.
didn't talk about?
Bucky.
The Stan Lee cameo. We didn't talk about Bucky.
Stan Lee, yeah.
I thought he'd be taller.
Great Stanley cameo. Might be the best one we've had so far.
And then while we're at it, I guess another one of my favorite characters would be Loki in the end credit scene, the post credit
In the Avengers trailer.
in the Avengers trailer.
Great pick.
Great character.
Great pick.
Wow. Seriously though,
Gosh,
who
Loki was in this movie.
would be your favorite character?
Red Skull in the first 45 minutes.
Before he takes off the mask?
Before he takes off the mask.
When he's still-
before his face is revealed.
Red Skull before he's
Red Skull before he's revealed. No. I like when he has the silhouette. Up until after that scene, I think he's good.
Interesting. One thing I didn't
I
never
love
noticed.
the lore that he was going for.
Yeah,
like he was a history buff trying to harness the power of the gods.
Yeah.
That's an epic plot line, and they don't really use it after the first 45 minutes. Like, it doesn't show the power of the gods. It's just like, I'm a super soldier serum, red-faced dude, and I've got the Tesseract, but we don't really know what the Tesseract is because we haven't decided what the Tesseract is. So we're going to figure it out in a different movie.
I think they know it's the space stone at this point.
Do they?
He's holding that, you see space. You know, when Red Skull's holding that, you see a portal to space
That's
open
true.
up.
That's true.
But yeah, they could easily not know. They didn't know that Loki's scepter and the first Avengers will be the Mind Stone one day.
he just didn't seem that intimidating. He didn't get close enough to achieving his goal where like he had the thing on to destroy the world and then Captain America rips it off or takes the power off and he's like, no, you can't do that.
Well, Stephen McFeely, the writers of this movie, I'm getting there.
You're getting your McFeels on?
You're feeling it out right now.
They did this one. They did the Avengers. They did Thor: Dark World. They've done most of the movies with the stones.
Yeah,
as
I
far
see.
as those go. So
They did
I
Winter
wouldn't
Soldier
doubt that
too.
if they did know it was a stone, or maybe they just retconned it as it was. Probably not. They still call it the Tesseract though. And I mean, when I was a kid, I was just like, "Whoa, cube! Collect that in the Lego." I had that little Lego.
That's cool.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna go with Cap. Absolutely, he's my favorite character in this movie. As I said before, the character moments that he has. I mean, he's in all of my favorite scenes.
I want to make it clear
Yeah.
I would have taken Cap, but I wanted to leave Cap for you, Ben.
Thank
I
you.
wouldn't
This
have.
is a Blade situation. Like, who's the coolest character in Blade?
Morbius.
Who did we pick? Who did we pick in Blade?
I think one of them we just did pick
We all
on
said Blade.
I think maybe we did. I don't know. We gotta
Who's
go back.
that? Oh, the dude who plays Hellboy.
Oh,
And then we picked that guy.
what's his Blade's chair guy's name?
Norman Reedus was in the
He was
third
one of them. Yeah.
I picked him in the third
Norman
one.
Reedus.
Yeah. No.
Go listen to our Blade podcast.
yeah, all
Actually, it's
three.
like what 1,000 views on YouTube.
The Blade 3 one has like 3,000 views or something like that.
Heck yeah.
Make it 4,000 guys.
People
To the
love
moon.
Blade. Go
Right.
listen to Blade.
Ethan, favorite scene?
Oh man. Oh, I think it's the scene with Eric Stein. Yeah.
Abraham Erskine. Yeah.
Abraham
Oh,
Erskine.
when they're sitting on the bed.
I think that's my favorite scene. But there are a lot of good scenes in this movie. But that one, I was like, oh, I'm getting feels. You know, when he's talking about how good becomes great, bad becomes worse.
But more important, the men. The serum amplifies everything that is inside. So, good becomes great. Bad becomes worse. This is why you were chosen. Because the strong man, who has known power all his life, may lose respect for that power. But a weak man knows the value of strength and knows compassion.
I think it's really good, and it shows like, yeah, sure, there are these bigger guys that you could pick to be not the Winter Soldier, the Super Soldier or Captain America, but you're the man. You're the man I want, and I learned that you're the man I want when I heard you talking to Bucky.
Where are you from, Mr. Rogers? Is it New Haven? Or Paramos? 5 exams in 5 different cities.
That might not be the right file.
No, it's not the exams I'm interested in. It's the 5 tries. But you didn't answer my question. Do you want to kill Nazis?
Is this a test?
Yes.
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
This tiny man, he just wants to serve. You know, he's watching that movie. Even little Timmy's helping out.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to be little Timmy, but he is
I don't
little
like
Timmy.
bullies.
That's him. He's little Timmy.
Yeah.
But he gets big, and as this movie disproves Tony's line in Avengers, you know, everything special about you came out of a bottle. We know that's not true, but there is an argument there later down the line, because he wouldn't be as great as he is if he isn't given this blessing as being the super soldier.
Everything
for
good
sure.
about him is exemplified by what comes from the bottle.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That is, if it wasn't yours, it was going to be mine. That's a great, great scene. Micah.
And it's got to be the car scene driving.
I mean, you can't, that's a pretty good scene.
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
guessing you.
I don't know.
As we've gone on here, it seems that you've taken a bit of a dip on your liking
Yeah.
to
Micah
this one.
hates this movie.
I hate this movie. This movie's kind of trash.
You know what we need? That's why there's 3 of us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
If there
yeah.
were 2 of us, it would be too
I don't
bland.
know. Too much of this movie is just the same. Like it's like a solid. Can't complain.
I'm assuming there's a scene in this movie that you really liked. Hopefully,
Man, I
stood
wish
out.
there was.
How about Bucky's death? Is
Bucky's
that any good?
Bucky's death? You mean the death that didn't
Bucky's
need him?
fall to villainism.
Oh no!
I believe
that. That whole scene was there for what?
To set up
Mike
the
is a
next
straight
one.
up hater on this movie. Dude.
I like it, Micah. We need some hate in this room. We can't all love
I don't know.
this.
They jump on this train. We got 10 seconds to jump on that. We got a 10-second window. We got to.
I will say this: the Howling Commandos deserve an award for their excellent zipline skills.
Oh yeah.
Not only on the train sequence, but in the finale when they zipline into the Hydra.
They're experts,
office.
man.
There were 3 dudes that ziplined onto that train. Only Bucky and Cap were shown. So I don't know where.
No,
They showed the second guy. They
the
showed
other
the
guy
third
went.
guy.
Where'd he go?
He went up to the front and he was the one who captured Zola.
Oh, was he? I thought
Yeah,
that
he
was
did all
Cap.
the work.
Oh. Okay. I don't know. I can't think of a good scene in
No
this movie.
good scene.
Like
Micah,
one
if
that
you can think
stands
of
out.
a good scene
What
from
about
Elektra,
the I'm not kissing you? Take
I already
that.
said the car scene.
Take the car scene.
you can take that.
I'll take the car scene then.
Favorite character, the car. Favorite scene, the car scene. I like it.
That doesn't say anything about this
This is
movie.
a
though.
Buick out of 10.
Yeah. We can say when Cap
Actually, a
first is
Hydra
revealed
Odyssey.
as super swole, and Peggy's just going Google.
Peggy
over
does
him.
what we all want to do. And
She's
grab
melting
him.
over this dude. I could say that, right?
Okay. All right.
And then,
Melting over Jack.
yeah, and then a dwarf just decides to destroy the whole building. Oh, not like he's not a dwarf in this movie, but
A what? A dwarf?
A dwarf.
Richard Armitage.
Oh.
Thorin.
I see what you're saying.
Thorin.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
He shows up
What
and just,
Micah's referencing is the guy who takes the last vial of the serum and shoots Erskine is the same actor who plays Thorin. in
yeah,
The
and then
Hobbits.
he just breaks the vial anyway, and then eats the.
More shall take its
tooth.
place.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
Micah's just.
Micah, we needed to get you some coffee or
Yeah,
something.
at first I was like
So-
9 out of 10. And
When
I'm
did you
like,
watch this movie? Like, how did you watch? Like, you just watched it,
Yeah, I
right?
just watched it.
Has it been a long day?
No,
Like-
no. I made 2 pizzas. I ate both of them while I watched this movie.
You're in a food coma.
That's what it
Was the
is.
movie really good or was it just the pizza,
It was
Micah?
mid pizza.
Probably
It was. I had a pineapple jalapeno pizza
Ben.
and a 3 meat pizza.
Ben, let's get your favorite scene.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna bring this back to positivity here because I believe I haven't been as positive on this movie as I wanted to.
I'm
Like,
drawing us down. I'm sorry.
no. Your opinion is very much appreciated. Like, it's just where we need to be. But I like this. So you picked the scene on the bed. I'm just gonna go with the final scene as he crashes the plane. It's one of the most emotional scenes in the MCU. Their dialogue at the end is so good. I will have already played it in the podcast. I know it. And their relationship and how it gets paid off is handled so well. It's the best piece of music in the film. Everything culminates to that moment and the emotion played on both of their faces as this morally good character makes the ultimate sacrifice to save most of the East Coast of America is done so well.
A week next Saturday at the Stork Club.
You got it.
8 o'clock on the dot. Don't you dare be late. Understood?
You know, I still don't know how to dance.
I'll show you how. Just be there.
We'll have the band play something slow. I'd hate to step on your...
Steve? Steve?
Their shot of the plane dipping into the ice as the music swells and the sun, it's shot so well. The cinematography goes way underappreciated there. And that's my favorite scene. But now we're going to go on to scores. And I'm going to go to Micah first on this one. I'm going to go to Micah first. Where would you put this one? You said you were going to start it off as high, but
It has a lot of good things to build up all the characters, and then it doesn't do anything with them. It has all of this potential. Red Skull in the first 45 minutes is all this potential, really cool motives, and then they don't really do anything with it. Cap, he's a really great character, right? And then they don't like show him completely off. They do show him off more than everyone else in the movie. Yeah. Bucky, we will see him more in Winter Soldier. They show us the little glimpse of Winter Soldier brainwashing. You know, he was on the bench, right? And he was that like table, and he rips him off of it, and he was like whispering the words. So there's little elements of that. Peggy could have been used more, I feel. She doesn't show how tough she is apart from just her being domineering in situations. That's why the car gets the coolest screen time. Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a 7.9.
Oh, heck yeah.
That's way higher than I thought you were going to go.
That is not low at all. I like that.
Like I said, they build up the movie pretty good. They do a great job of making these characters. They just don't do anything with them, and that's my problem. And it could be because they don't ever use these characters ever again, except for Peggy and Bucky
And Red Skull and Captain America.
Where does Red Skull come back besides Infinity War?
Infinity War. That's what I'm talking
besides Infinity War. Like, he's there for 20 seconds.
Besides Infinity War. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking in general.
They had no plans of bringing him back because they did the time skip, because they sent him off to Neverland. Captain America, yeah, he's going to come back. He's the only one that gets anything at all. He's the only one that does anything cool. Okay, fine. I'll wrap it up. Yeah, I said it. I'm done. 4.3 out of 10.
Oh, shoot. It cost us 4 points. Oh,
Jeez,
man. Or 3 points or whatever. 3.5
He was
points.
like, I'm trying to go see Scream.
I got to see Scream 6 after this.
Ethan, score.
You know what? This, I believe, is the third best movie we've seen on this list. I think Spider-Man 2 is better.
Yeah.
I think Iron Man 2, or not Iron Man 2, Iron Man 1 is better than this, but I like this at a solid third place. This movie's really fun. They do so much right. They implement comic elements. You know, we didn't even mention the most iconic or the most popular comic cover for Captain America of all time is him punching Hitler, and they somehow work that into the story. Really cool that they do that. They implement a lot of great into this movie, and yeah, I mean, some of the characters need to be fleshed out a little more, but I think they got Steve right. They got Peggy right. The two characters you absolutely had to get right, you did. And I think you could have done more with Bucky, but whatever. I don't care. I like putting this at a solid 8.
A solid 8. Okay, all right. 7.9 and 8. That's way closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Micah's scores are always so funny. I hate this movie. It's a 7.9 out of 10.
Worst movie ever. 10 out of 10.
Very nice.
That's all it'll be for Infinity War. Or no, for Avengers.
So I'm a stan for this movie. It's in my top 10.
Sebastian Stan, if you will.
If you will. If you want to go there, you go there. But I am such a big fan of this movie. Like I said at the beginning, the nitpicks that I have kind of fall away because Cap's origin story is handled so well. He's a man that you have such a hard time not rooting for. His character moments that he's given, whether it's between Erskine, whether it's between Peggy Carter, it's all so fantastic. And like the scenes on the bed, or his final scene when he's talking to Peggy, or the scene in the bar we didn't even talk about is he can't get drunk and we're with you. Like, it's so fantastic, this movie. And I feel like it kind of got lost in the mud because we've been kind of up and down. But I am way a fan of this movie. And in my opinion, this is going to be a hot take, but this is the best movie that I have seen so far on this watch through. And it is my first movie that I'm going to give a 9 out of 10 to.
Oh,
I absolutely love Captain America, the First Avenger. Every time I watch it, it gets that much better. And I think it's just because of how much Captain America sells for me as a person. I think you are an Iron Man guy, Ethan, but I'm a Cap guy. And I think that translates perfect.
No cap in that.
No cap in that. So 9, 8, 7.9. That gives us an average of an 8.3. 8.3.
Okay.
putting it in solid fourth place in our ranking.
Fourth place.
Fourth place, just above Spider-Man, just under Thor.
Under Thor. Wow.
Thor did beat it out because I gave it an 8.9. Ethan gave it a 7.5. You gave it an 8.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So slightly. Oh, wait. Same score, 8.3.
Oh.
I wasn't looking at those. So we have a tie for the first time in Multiverse Monologues history.
A tie? There's no decimals either at all?
No.
So to break a tie,
We gotta rewatch these movies.
I think we vote.
I think we vote higher or lower than Thor.
I put it
Lower
above
than Thor.
Above Thor.
I
Lower
put it
than
also
Thor.
above Thor. So
All right, that
put
puts
it in
it
an
above Thor.
8.4 then, I guess.
No,
Would that be-
keep it 8.3. Just us collectively know where we put it in a ranking.
Okay.
You know what? I'll bump up my score to an 8. I'll bump up my
What'll
score
that
for an
do?
8. Just for you guys.
Oh,
It'll put
okay.
it at an
Okay.
8.3.
You know what?
But will that's still the same though, right?
No.
The score is still the same.
8.33. Repeating.
There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Get that 0.03, and that's all we need. So very nice. Okay, so this movie is third.
Yeah, speaking of all we need,
Oh boy.
this movie ends with the post-credit scene teasing the Avengers.
The greatest
The
post-credit
next movie
scene.
on this watch through it is Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. That's
go.
right. We're leaving the MCU for an actor who said, I'm too good for the MCU. I'm freaking Nick Cage. We're going to go watch Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance next week. Heck yeah.
When we're in the prime, the meat of the bone when it comes to the MCU Phase 1, we take a little break. We go to Ghost Rider, the sequel, the much maligned sequel, I will say. Is it maligned? Have anyone seen it? I haven't seen
I'm
it.
not.
Micah hasn't seen it.
No.
Ethan hasn't seen it. Oh boy,
I don't
All
want to see it.
I don't.
But we're gonna watch
I
it
don't want to
anyway.
see it. So, but that's next week, folks. And The Last of Us is also wrapping up. Tune into the weekly show, which was just premiered actually today, as of the talking of us. So tune into that for Mandalorian season 2, season 3 thoughts. We greatly appreciate that, and we thank you for sticking around for Captain America.
Apparently, Spider-Man 3 and X-Men 2 are also tied. I never noticed that.
Anyway, we'll talk about that next time. But Captain America is third place as far as this goes, and we might have a contender for that next week with Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. So, maybe.
First place contender.
Maybe a contender. So, stay tuned for that, folks. Otherwise, this is Ben Rayside.
This is Ethan Wensloff.
This is Micah Head.
Signing off. We all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.